I almost forgot to push my mic over here so you can actually hear what I'm talking about. Welcome to September 3rd, 2024. I can't believe it's September 3rd, 2024 already. And we are getting into close to the last quarter of the year. Well, welcome to, another heart-centered marketing show where we're going to talk a little bit about, or a lot about, productivity and distractions and momentum and all that funky stuff to make sure that you're going into Q4 even stronger than before. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I mean, I got the idea because I was talking about it with my private coaching group in the academy today and just can't get it out of my head because it is super, super powerful when you know how to control your distractions and removing them, all that stuff. So I'm going to give you a couple of just simple ideas that I have incorporated into my world that maybe you could use yourself, and maybe it will help you get some momentum. I'm going to actually look over to my Facebook group here, and I think that if I did this right, that it will be going live. I'm hoping that it goes live. I'm hoping that I'm live. Okay. If you are watching this live, let me know by hashtag live or hashtag replay in the comments, and I will hopefully see them because I'm looking at my iPad down here. So if you see me looking down, it's because I am looking to see. It's not, I don't know if it's live, but I'm looking to see if the comments are coming through on the Facebook, because before I couldn't see any of the comments on Facebook. I can see them if you're watching on a regular broadcast. So those comments I will see come through. Okay, let me see. So I don't see anything happening here. Let me see. Does that work? I guess not. Okay, well, if I'm in the Facebook group, that's fantastic. If not, welcome from the other channels. Here's what I want to talk about. I've got a couple of notes here that I wanted to make sure that I went over. The first thing is that when you are stuck in your business, the first thing is that when you feel as though you don't have momentum or there's too many things going on, I like to use a framework, a very simple 3-step framework, or the really questions that I ask myself. And I always use a time frame of 90 days, because when you're doing things, when you're testing things, you got to give yourself a little bit of time. You got to give yourself a little bit of momentum to see if things are working, and then to get some feedback. It doesn't matter where that feedback is. It could be an ad. It could be from your audience. It could be to sales, pay, work. Like, it doesn't matter. So that's the first thing, is the 90-day frame. And I got that because I love what Dan Sullivan talks about. He talks about a moving future, and he asks questions over the quarter. So you're looking back at the past quarter. I didn't get these originally from Dan. I don't know where I got them from. Maybe I can't remember where I got them from. But what are the things that we're achieving? So these are the 3 simple questions that I ask. First, what worked? So at the end of 90 days, I look back and I ask myself what worked. And then the second question is, well, what didn't work? And I'm going to come back to that second question because that's a doozy. What didn't work? And then the third question is, what can I replace, or what can I test now? What's the new thing I can add? Now, I want to explain why these are super important, because as an entrepreneur, for a long, long time, and this may be happening to you or someone that you know, is when we get something that's working, because we're entrepreneurs and we're looking for all kinds of stuff to do, we're always excited about new ideas. We actually stop doing the thing that's working. I don't know why we do that, or maybe it's just me, but we just stop the thing that we're doing. And I don't know why we do that. And then we just add something else in. That's not the whole idea of this. You keep the thing that you're working and continue to do that, and then you're removing the thing that doesn't work, and then you're replacing number 2, which is the thing that doesn't work, with a brand new thing to test. And it's kind of like, copy. If you know anything about copy and controls, is like, this ad's working or this headline's working, and you want to test a new control to it, or a new ad or headline to it, or whatever it is, and to see if it works better. Now, I'm not saying that that's what your intention is, but you don't remove the thing that's already working and just replace it with something else, and because that breaks the entire system. And sometimes you may find when you add in a new thing that it works better than the original. You may want to absolutely replace that, but that's not the intent. The intent is to keep doing what is working. I can't tell you how many times A, I've done it, and B is I see clients do this all the time, is they remove things that aren't working because they found something that's a little bit shinier and they want to go do that. So that's where the third piece of this comes in, because there's always something that doesn't work, and you can remove that and replace it with that shiny new thing, but test that for 90 days and keep that going. So that's the simplicity of it. Those are the three questions, the simplicity of how you continue to get momentum. Okay, so let me read a couple of points from Dan Sullivan, what he says about moving the future, moving future. So this is, like I said, looking back over the past quarter and what things that you've achieved that makes you the proudest. So this is part of what I just talked about. What are the current areas of focus and progress that you're most confident about? This is in that first area of this is working. I love this, because sometimes things will work. But you don't feel really great about it. It doesn't align with you. And so I've done that too, where this one methodology or marketing method or something was working, and I just didn't feel energized to just continue to do it, even though it was working. So you remove that. You want to get rid of that as well. And then you're looking ahead at the next quarter. What are the developments? What are the projects or goals giving you the greatest excitement? Because if you don't have a goal in place, if you don't have somewhere where you can measure or what you're going for, it's easy to just do everything. And as entrepreneurs, we have a lot of stuff going on in our head. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. We're going to come to the chaos piece of this, but that's a big thing. So there's progress that you want to make. And I like to combine simplicity into what I'm doing. One of the things that I've combined is there's a book called The 12-Week Year. Highly recommend the book. And then I learned a method from Brendan Burchard many, many years ago that there was like 5 big moves, and I can't remember what this came from, but I learned it from Brendan. I'm going to give him credit. And it's basically, what are the big 4 moves that you need to make in the year? And I combine those big moves with the 12-week year, and then I do all the work between. I teach this to all my clients. They all know what I'm talking about here. And because when you have a big goal, then you're able to audit yourself against that big quarter goal. I'll give you an example of this, a very simple example. So let's say that you want to make $100,000 or $1 million a year. You want to sell $1 million, and you want to build an online product. Well, there's 4 big moves. These are the ones that I use as the example. There's 4 main big moves that you would need. One is that you got to create the product, right? That's big move number 1, and that would be in a quarter. And then you have 3 other quarters. Well, guess what those quarters are? The big idea of the next 3 quarters are what? To sell $333,000 or whatever per quarter, $375,000, whatever it works out to, whatever the math is there, right? So that's the big goal for those next 3 quarters. So if you're auditing against yourself to make those moves or to avoid distractions and procrastination and what should I do next, I always say to clients, look, what is the main move we're doing here? And the main move has to be simple. It's not drawn out. It's not this big complex thing. It's like, I need to make a product. So why is that important? Well, the importance is that if the goal for that quarter is just to make a product, then something comes along, an opportunity comes along, and a course comes along or something that says, hey, guess what? You could learn how to run Facebook ads. You could learn how to be better on LinkedIn or how to shoot YouTube videos. And because we know or think that we're going to be using that, we a lot of times abandon what we're doing and jump over to those things in the course. And we start getting distracted. And then the quarter goes by. We look back and say, well, how did the course go? Like, did you create the course? No, I didn't get that course done. Why? Well, because I took this, I did this, and they did this, and they did this. You see, so you're auditing against what that big goal is for, or what that big goal is for that quarter. It doesn't mean you don't do it. It just means you need to prioritize. And that's one of the big things that I'm always helping clients understand that. It's not that we don't do it. We put it in what I call the parking lot. This is important, but it's not important now. Let's put it in the parking lot. You can go take a YouTube video later when you get into maybe the second the second frame of the big move, which is how do I sell $375,000? Well, one of the things might be, well, I got to market. Okay, well, how do I market? Maybe I should make YouTube videos. Okay, so then maybe I'm going to go and take a YouTube video course and learn how to shoot videos better, or learn how to write or present better. You know what I mean? So it moves to the right quarter. That's a super, super important thing. So that's what we're doing, is we're always making sure that we're looking ahead into the future of like, what is it that we're trying to do, and make sure that you're dialed in on this. Here's one of the big challenges. It's a good thing, right? This is a good thing, but I mean, I've noticed this over the past couple of years working with clients, and most of them are like this. Most of my clients are what's called, or what Dan Sullivan calls, multipliers. There's only there's two places, primary strengths in business. One is a simplifier and one is a multiplier. I am a simplifier, and we both need each other. And it's really, really important, because if you're a multiplier, which I would imagine that most people listening to this right now are multipliers. And that's so cool, because a multiplier they have a lot of things going on. And we get caught in chaos that way, because we look out at the future, and you see all of these things that could happen, that you could build, and you're always looking out at the future, but you're tripping over what's in front of you. And that's where a simplifier comes in. That's where somebody like me simplifies all the complexity, all the things that are going on. And the multiplier, your job is to amplify later. That's what most multipliers are doing in their head right now. And that's why they're distracted, because they're thinking about multiplication and amplifying things. Hey, if I did this and built a team around this and built all of these products and built this big company and all this stuff, I could do all this, right? And they don't know really what to do to actually get it started, the simplicity of it. And that's why we get distracted. Simplifiers like myself totally get distracted too, but on a different level. But I'm talking about, like, for me, most of my clients are all multipliers. But any of this, what I'm talking about, is going to work for you, whether you're a simplifier or a multiplier. I'd love to know in the chat whether you are a multiplier or a simplifier. I'd love to know if I can see some of the comments, because I can't see them I thought I had this all together by having it in my Facebook group here, and I can't see them either. So if you're in my Facebook group and you're answering these questions, my apologies, because I still can't see them. Thought I had it together. Maybe next week. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about chaos, because chaos is a big thing. And there's a good part to chaos. Let me start with the good news first, okay? If you're an entrepreneur, you are probably used to chaos. You're probably used to balancing chaos. Like, it's just good. You can just go in and go, I got this. Like, and you just put all these things together and learn how to deal with it. But there's the other side of chaos. And the other side of chaos is because we're so used to chaos, okay, when things slow down or simplify, or there's like not a lot of streams coming at us and stuff, we look for chaos, or we're because we're so addicted to it, and we start looking for problems, or we start looking for distractions, whether we know it or we don't know it. And I can see this because, again, I'm working with clients who are like that. They're just subconsciously looking to add more chaos, because it's too simple, it's too boring, and it can't be this simple. Even when people join Atlas, for example, when I tell them you can get 96% of your time back, you don't have to do funnels, like the major funnels and all these complexity things, almost always I will get people telling me, Joey, it cannot be this simple. And it is. It's because we are addicted to chaos. That's just who we are as entrepreneurs. Teen, hey Teen, good to see you. All right, I got a comment coming in here from, you must be on the Facebooks, because I can't see it in the Facebook group. Thank you for being here with clients. Simplifier on my own, a multiplier. Does that make sense? Yeah, well, yeah, it does. It does. I would love to. I wish I could bring you on live and talk more about that. But yeah, maybe give me an example. Like, how are you? How do you? So if you're a multiplier, how do you help people simplify? That's what I'd like to know. Because I think that there's not this one, this line that says I'm either this or that. You could be more of one thing in a case, which is what I think you're talking about here. I'd love to know what it is. Is there anything that you could give us in terms of advice on how you help people simplify because as a multiplier yourself. That's what I'm interested in knowing. And thank you for letting us know that. So, like I said, when you're in chaos, you might be addicted to this because the reason why it's important to understand what chaos is there's like just an overwhelming amount of work to do. Would you agree? There's just so much work to do. There's never a time when there's not enough work. And that causes chaos, and we're used to that. But if we go look for it, that's not a good thing. And the reason why we're stuck in chaos a lot of times is because we've never really been taught how to prioritize. Even though we have read the books, you probably read a few books on how to prioritize. Is it really working for you? If it's not, if you're still in chaos, then it's obviously not working for you and you need to figure something else out. That's why I went back to, for years I was doing goal setting and smart goal setting, and all these goal setting things work. But for me and the clients that I was working with at that time, which was many years ago when I first integrated both of these techniques, the 12-week year and the 4 moves, was because we would never get to the goal. Like we would set a 12-month goal and we would never get there because they would always be distracted. And we would meet every quarter live. And then I would ask those questions. Again, if you're just joining us, the questions that I ask every single quarter is what worked, what didn't work, and what can I add or replace? Like what can I insert? What can I test in by getting rid of number 2? So the thing that didn't work, obviously you want to get rid of it, and then you want to replace something to test, and you want to keep number 1 because, like I said before, so many times we get rid of the wrong thing, the thing that's working, and we just replace a whole bunch of new stuff and wonder why we're never really getting momentum or getting a process together that is working for us all the way through. Okay, so those are the 3 questions. Now, because of those things, if you have to understand how to prioritize. What is the thing that you're doing? And if you audit against the 12 weeks or the big goals, it's easy to prioritize. It's not easy. It's simple to prioritize. It's not easy to do. Let's put it that way, because you can easily put it on simply put it on a piece of paper and go, okay, I got this. But sticking to it is a completely different thing. That's why I'm always asking clients, okay, what's the big goal again? What's the thing that we're trying to do today? And the big goal is, like I said, it's a simple thing. I want to create a product, or I want to create a group program this month, or I need to sell $300,000. Okay, great. And then we can break down the tasks and all the things that have to do like weekly or daily. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about what are we debating against, or what are we auditing against? And I want to bring in one other piece of this. Maybe a little bit woo-woo here, but you may have heard me before on this talk about your future self, right? Like, so I have a lot of conversations with my future self, and most of those conversations are not with my 100-year-old self. It's more of next week's self. Like, what is next week's Joey going to tell me? What's next Tuesday's Joey telling me? Or even, and then sometimes a lot of times I will go even backwards. So if I don't do something today that I should have been doing, then tomorrow I will ask, or I will talk to yesterday's Joey today. Have I lost you yet? Like yesterday's Joey, and kind of beat myself up sometimes. And like, cause you disappointed me, man. Like I'll talk to that person and say, you disappointed me. You were supposed to do this, and all you had to do was that. And now today I feel this way. And feeling is a big thing, right? Because we talked about this today on the Academy, and I asked, how does that make you feel? Like, are you stuck in, what feeling does come up for you when you are procrastinating, when you're not getting things done and all that? And a lot of it can be anxiety, it could be stress, it could be anything you want. But so that's what I always kind of beat myself up at, like when I talked to yesterday's Joey. So you didn't do this, and I'm still feeling anxious. I'm still feeling doubtful, or I'm still feeling angry about this, or whatever. So, and it's not that I, mentally I'm busting my brain and always beating myself up. I don't want that to come across. However, you have to be accountable to yourself. That's the only person that you can really be accountable to is yourself. So I have to be accountable to myself. That's why I like to use the past and future techniques. And I know it sounds weird, but honestly, if you are procrastinating right now, if you're stuck in distractions and you're not really getting things done, try it. Like, ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, what would next week's teen say? What would she say if I didn't do this? And ask yourself that question. And you might get into the habit of asking that to push you out or pull you out of that procrastination. Teen, you just came up with an answer to that question here. So the cases are complex, and my job is to take one step at a time and moving them forward. However, when trying to move past one to one and one to many, I think I know so many more things before I start. Okay, so I'm thinking I got it here. So my job is to take one step at a time. And moving past one to one to one to many, I think I should know so many more things before I start. I think I got it. Maybe give me a little more context there. Are you talking about when, like, switching back to you? So the cases are complex, and then you tell them to take one step at a time, but then you don't? Like when you're doing it for yourself? Is that what I'm hearing? Or reading? I'm probably reading that wrong. Let me know. Okay. One other big thing about helping you avoid distraction is protecting your time. And we talked about this today too. And this is one of the biggest areas that a lot of us do not do. We don't protect our time. And I've been protecting my time. I can, like, forever. It feels like forever. It had to be since 2012. I always go back to that date because that's really when I started really focusing in on all the stuff that I've been doing since that time, and got my first coach and started really investing in all of the stuff that I talk about for all of these years, all these in this decade. Excuse me. And it was Eben Pagan who I first learned this from, where it was doing the 50-minute focus. Dean Jackson is came from Dean Jackson, I think. But I started doing that and protecting my time that way. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about was making the decision to know where what my morning routine was, what my daily routine was. And it's been like that since that time, which is the morning is protected for me. It's very rare that I will do anything in the morning that is outside of my own protected bubble, let's say. So I don't do any meetings. I don't do calls. I don't talk to any humans. Like, I don't do any of that. That's all me. Internal work, reading, journaling, sleeping in, like all those things. I rest all the way. So the morning is protected until 12 o'clock. So that morning routine has been going on, like I said, since 2012, since I can remember. And it's very rare, like these days, where I will break that routine. Some of them, like, I might do, but and when I do break that routine, it's uncanny how much it totally changes the trajectory of the next couple of days. And the only time I break this really is once or twice a month. And it's on the Friday, so it's okay, because then I have the weekend to recoup, because, Fridays till Monday, I've even protected that time. So Fridays to Monday morning is something where I don't allow anything coming into my world. I'm not saying it never happens, but if I don't do anything, that's totally okay. That's why being in momentum and avoiding distractions is super important to me during the weekdays, during the time that I'm talking about. So to wrap up, let's talk about this again. Here's the questions. Number 3, the 3 questions that I ask, which I suggest you do. It's always within a 90-day time frame. Okay, 90 days gives you something to work with. The question is, at the end of 90 days, it's simple to do it every single quarter. At the beginning of the new quarter, look back and say what worked, and keep doing that. And what didn't work, and remove that. And then the thing that you remove, now you've got an empty slot to ask yourself, what can I insert here? And what can I test? Because if you're trying to throw everything in at a lot of times, that's where the distractions come in. It's so much easier to take one thing out, because once you get into a routine of this is working and I'm testing this new thing, you're in this routine of just continue doing what's doing over here. There's really no thought process over here. It should be almost like an automatic process. And this is the one you're concentrating on. And then you're just looking back. Well, what didn't work? Like even number one that is working could stop working. Like that's a possibility. But you know what I'm talking about. So you focus on that second thing, replacing it with something brand new. Because if you add in all kinds of things, you don't know where the broken pieces are. And this is one of the big things of distraction, because we are absorbing information all of the time. Hey, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So I encourage you to use the parking lot idea. This is a parking lot. Go over there. When I need you, I'll come get you. I'll pull you out, and then we can go for a drive. But for now, I'm going to be, driving these two things, and that's it. Those are the three questions. So what worked, what didn't work, and what am I going to replace the one that didn't work with? Very, very simple. And the simpler it is, the better. I promise you, you'll get into momentum this way if you follow those things, and if you follow the 12-week routine. And if you want any information on this, I have a Google Doc. I could give it to you. Just let me know. Put it into the comments. Just put 12-week. Yeah, let's just use 12-week, and I'll give you the doc, and you can use it for yourself, because then it'll help you. You'll see what I'm using with clients to help them actually move forward in their work, in their business, and how to make the your year work better for you and faster for you if you follow the routine and the discipline. Not easy, but it's simple to do. All right. No, it's okay, team. No worries. Yeah, get back to another day. I know it's really late. I am so grateful for you to be here live. Thank you. And thank you all for being here live. I can't see the comments in the Facebook group. I wish that I did see the comments, if you are commenting there and anywhere else. Thank you so much for being here live. We will see you next week again for another heart-centered marketing show and talk about some really cool stuff. Have a great, great night. Talk to you soon.